She spoke, but with guarded lips and tranquil face. She, Savitri. Savitri spoke to her mother-in-law with guarded lips. Savitri knows why she wants to go to the forest. She knows why she wants to go to the forest, but she does not want that thing to be known to others. So she is very careful in selecting her words, in speaking out, in even putting on a facial expression so that nothing betrays to them that something is wrong over there where you see. As if it is a kind of routine thing which is going on. She spoke, but with guarded lips and tranquil face. Savitri is always tranquil, but she becomes more tranquil when she is going to speak to her mother-in-law. As some stray word or some betraying look should let pass into the mother's unknowing breast. If by chance, by mistake, some slip occurs and then that is caught by her mother-in-law, all done. See, she is very careful about that. See, should let pass into the mother's unknowing breast, slaying all happiness and need to live. Slaying all happiness and need. The moment she would sense that something is going to be wrong today, that sense would slay all her happiness and the meaning of her life also. The meaning of her life also will get lost, you see. Who would like her son to die like that? And if the mother knows about it, she will be terribly disturbed also, you see. Slaying all happiness, obviously, and need to live. So the construction is should let pass a dire foreknowledge. Grammatically, that is the construction. She would not allow anything from her mouth to slip out in the nature of a dire foreknowledge. Why? If that foreknowledge is given, they will slay the happiness and need to live. If something happens suddenly like that. Therefore, only the needed utterance passage found. What was there? She is very precise, and only that much only she is going to speak. All else she is pressed back into her anguished heart. She is having a tranquil face, but within her heart, there is anguish, there is anxiety, there is worry what is going to happen. Sorrow is there in her heart, but she is having a tranquil face above. That is a very difficult kind of a thing. It is very, very yogic. Only he can do that. Only the needed utterance, passage found. All else she pressed back into her anguished heart and forced upon her speech and outward peace. You see, obviously. And then now, kind of innocently, she is asking her mother-in-law, please allow me to go with my husband to the forest today. Yes. 1 year that I have lived with Satyavan here on the emerald edge of the vast woods, in the iron ring with enormous space. So this is nature street all around here, the Salwa forest, you see. Here on the emerald edge, emerald thick forest, green forests are there, on the vast wood, in the iron ring of enormous space, tall mountains, rocky mountains all around here, surrounding the whole place. Under the blue rifts of the forest sky, through the forest, the sky is coming here like rifts. I had not gone into the silences of this great woodland that enringed my thought. Yes, they have been there always haunting me. I am staying here in the hermitage, but I had never gone and seen those places at all, although I can imagine them here. I had not gone into the silences of this great woodland that enringed my thought with mystery, nor in its green miracles wandered the trees, the beautiful flowers, the animals, the birds, rivers, mountains, I had never gone. I have been just living here in this small hermitage all along. But this small clearing was my work in the forest, free of tall trees and all that. This is the clearing, and it is here that I have been living here for 1 year. Going to the well in the morning, pulling water from the well, doing household work. I have been doing like a ordinary person here all along, although she is a princess, you see. And then she says, now has a strong desire seized all my heart to go with Satyavan, holding his hand into the life that he has loved, and touch herbs he has trod, and know the forest flowers, and hear at ease the birds and the scurrying life that stars and ceases, rich far rustle of boughs, and all the mystic whispering with the woods, and all the mystic whispering with the woods. See the poetry, and all the mystic whispering with the woods. The rhythm is so beautiful, you see. And all the mystic whispering, you see, you can scan it like that, and all the mystic whispering of the woods. That is the beat. And all, that is the first foot, then mystic, the second foot, then mystic wisp, that's the third foot, purring, that is the fourth feet, and other woods, that is the fifth feet, Anapest. That is Scansion's line. And all the mystic whispering with the woods. The birds are there, they're crying, release me now and let my heart have rest. She is pleading to her, let my heart have rest, you see. What a poignant prayer of Savitri to her mother-in-law, you see. Now has a strong desire seized all my heart to go with Satyavan, holding hand into the life that he has loved, and touch herbs he has trod, and know the forest flowers, and hear at ease the birds in the scurrying life, the stars and seasons, rich far rustle of boughs, and all the mystic whispering of the woods. Release me now, and let my heart have rest. Let my heart have rest. Release me now. No modern daughter-in-law will ask permission from her mother-in-law in this. See, she will say, go to hell. Who are you to question me? Who are you to question me, see? Who are you to question me, see? Yeah. So she is now, we are told here, only needed utterance found. All else she pressed back into her anguished heart and forced upon her speech and outward, etc. Only the needed utterance, so that she does not want to betray by her word or feeling or facial expression something wrong to her mother-in-law. And therefore she makes this speech. But at the same time, if the mother-in-law is alert enough, if she is alert enough, she will immediately say, now has a strong desire. Why the strong desire suddenly? Savitri, why? I mean, why suddenly the strong desire has come to you? She has in a certain sense already betrayed also that there is something very unusual today. By saying strong desire, she has betrayed. Now, if the mother-in-law is sharp enough, quick enough, she will catch hold of this thing, you see. And question also perhaps, you see, a strong desire has seized my heart. Why? You see, anybody will ask this question. Why a strong desire has seized you today, suddenly, after 1 year, you see. And then, of course, she described, etc., all that thing, you see. These trees were there all along, the flowers were there, birds were there, mountains were there, rivers were flowing, and today suddenly, why now? This strong desire has come to you. You see, why has come to you? Now, that is the beauty of poetry also. Release me now. Here, it is made very clear that Savitri does not want to give any hint, any indication of what is going to happen a few hours hence. Nobody knows in the hermitages. Only three persons who know of what is going to happen at 12 o'clock on this particular day are, of course, Ashwapati, her father, her mother, and Savitri. Nobody, not even Satyavan. Although at times he felt something unusual, but he could not really guess what was unusual in the way Savitri would behave with him. Nobody knows that. And she wants to keep that thing as a secret, absolutely hold a secret to herself. And this is a great yogic capacity to hold that kind of a knowledge entirely to yourself, not to reveal to anybody at all. It needs tremendous capacity. And particularly she being a lady, she is managing to hold that thing back to her, you see. That is a great thing, you see. She does not betray at all, you see. That is the quality of Savitri, you see. Now, of course, we know what is going to happen and all that. Now, why Savitri should go to the forest? Savitri has to go to the forest because the death is going to take place in the forest. In the forest. Why in the forest? Why not in the house? Why not in the house? Why in the forest? In the lonely place where her soul, nature's soul from below and God from above, the soul of nature all around and God from above, they are only going to be the witness of this event of the death of Satyavan. Nobody else at all, no human element will be present there. It is important. That is why the death has to take place in the forest. If there is a human interference in the occult working, that can be harmful, that can cause damage, that will not be able to achieve what it is supposed to achieve. There has to be total isolation from everything which is vital, mental, physical of man. It is only nature's soul, the soul of nature and God's above. They are the only persons who would matter in the entire occult play. Human, he will spoil the game. He will spoil the game. He has to be kept aside. Therefore, the death has to take place in a lonely spot, away from civilization, away from habitation, away from everything. It has to take place here. Now you can imagine if it happens in the house and then there will be shouting, crying, weeping, people gathering and all that thing. And how can then Savitri do her work with Satyama, with Yama, with death? It's impossible, you see. She has to have total isolation. That is how the story is, so to say, designed. Why death in the forest? The story is designed that way for that occult purposes, and it has to happen in that manner, you see. Release me now. So that's the occult reason why death should take place there and why Savitri is asking for that. Now, okay, let us read this part. Savitri's mother-in-law answers to her. She answered, "Do as thy wise mind desires." You are a person of great wisdom. I know that by my association with you for 1 year, I have come to realize that, and therefore you are absolutely, although you are asking my permission, but actually you don't really need the permission. You are a wise person and you know what to do when. Go ahead and do it. You see. Oh, calm, child sovereign, with the eyes that rule. That is what she sees in Savitri's eyes. They have the power to govern time and circumstance. All that goes around, her eyes can see and govern that thing. So, in other words, this mother-in-law is spiritually very perceptive of some of these things. Yes, she has something very powerful in her, and her eyes possess that power by which things all around can be shaped, can be framed the way they have to move here. The eyes that rule, you see, and calm, that is the quality she has already, that child sovereign, she is a princess. As a young princess, she has come and started living in the forest, and therefore she is addressing her like that.